Greetings and salutations, my name is JW608 and today I am playing Starmade. We are in dev build, we're in dev build version 0.200.251 and I have received something. Oh, I started a new world. I actually did a clean install for the dev build because I think it's getting close. That and I wanted to actually do some building, so I've been doing that in a stable branch. But we've got something I've been asking for forever. Documentation. Let's see. Here we go. Documentation. This is the Starmade version 0.200.25 pre-release news. 17 hours ago, I just sat down, just saw this, just sat down to do some recording. And we're going to run through this today. Let's see. Thank you for playing, how to get there. Quick overview of what's new compared to release. So this is a quick overview of what has changed from the release, the stable branch. Adapted font size to be readable, as opposed to itty bitty little text. Well, in fact, I'm going to adapt this font size to be more easily readable by y'all. Okay, there we go, that should be readable. Anyway, so we don't have to worry about that. New structure build info panel with the collapsible bits. Can I... No. OBS did not like that. There. Alright. Sorry if the screen's flashing around a bit. OBS is cranky when I do that. This thing here, where we have the collapsible chunks there. Let's see, and let's go back to desktop. Let's go back. Come on, there you go. More context-based information, HUD context filters. That's the click left to place a block, click right to remove a block, press R to open the door, that type of stuff. And you can set some crucial only or none. Crucial only is advised for experienced players. I don't know if I'm quite there yet. Right-click, reset brush size. I'm not familiar with that. We're going to have to try that out. Removal prompt for storage, faction, shop, shipyard, and warp gates in use. So that should mean if I have something in a storage block, a locker, a chest, whatever you want to call it, if there's something in there, it should warn me before I get rid of it. Or if somebody's using a warp gate, it should warn me before I get rid of the control block, so that's nice. And shops, that's nice. I've lost a ton of money deleting it. We're trying to move a ship block, but it had stuff in it. Yeah. It'd been nice for it to say, are you sure you want to do this? You still have money in here. Setting waypoint faction members within members list. So I can tell you, I'm here. I'm assuming I haven't tried this out. I'm here. Instead of trying to figure out coordinates and have them find it, I guess I can, if you're in my member list, I can say, oh, this is the waypoint and set it for you. Shift-click hotbar to remove for creative mode and creative keybinding creative mode if allowed. That's something nice, to shift-click something in the hotbar to get rid of it while in creative. I've been wanting that forever. Catalog blocks as a toggle to show resource cost. Oh, that's nice. I like that. Catalog blocks menu. Okay. Chat GUI update. More upcoming in the next update. Reactor GUI graphics and block textures. Because they got the new blocks, they got new textures. Not new from the last time, from the last dev build. This is compared to release, remember that. New module systems, faster and less error prone. New power consumption module, faster and less error prone. That's both behind the scenes stuff. Fix a major memory leak for servers. That's nice. Fix frame buffer, VRAM usage, and general VRAM usage by more than half, depending what your AA is set to. Network optimizations, all this is good stuff. This is going to mean playing multiplayer is going to be smoother. GUI drawing optimization, beam optimizations, more than double performance. So now having a screen full of laser beams attacking you to drop the computer, or maybe I can use my mining chip without taking down servers. Several memory allocations, looks like memory, a normal mapping, that's texture-y type stuff. A general chunk loading, Vastly reduced amount of calls, that's nice. So though this is back-end stuff, looks like cleaning up the memory, grouping calculations, canceling to increase performance. So it looks like faster debris handling, so tidying up the back end so it should run better. New power system, new power balance, the stabilizers, chamber system, effect functionality, 130 effects for entities, structural integrity, a new shield system, recon versus stealth system, factory production cap, ooh, that sounds neat. Storage pull limits, oh, that also sounds neat. That means, if I'm assuming that, remember when I did a factory, I had this super convoluted way of meeting out vertikine to different to the standard hardeners. It looks like now I can say, oh, just keep 1,000 standard hardener in storage. Only run when you get below 1,000 instead of having a logic clock with a sensor measuring how much vertikine's in a box it's pulling from main. And yeah, it got really messy real quick. Storage pull limits, manual turret aiming. That's interesting. I played with that a little. That's neat. Graphic presets for simpler option management. I took a brief look at that setting up my new dev build here, or my new install here, and it's simplified. Still looks like the same system, just been reshuffled, so it looks nicer. New HP system, from what I've understand, and reworked overheating conditions, it looks like overheating is dependent upon reactor HP, so that's going to be nice. I really like that. So it isn't quite core mining, but it isn't, I have to hunt down every filthy shield block and thruster module that this moron placed in the weirdest spots in his ship. Several menu fixes, server message fixes. Actually, I'm thinking this here is going to make combat faster and more interesting, I hope. Menus, fix placing blocks when the ship is moving. That's always been a pain, because when it's moving, I click over here and the block gets placed over here, off the ship or something, somewhere weird, and some other minimal bugs. As you can see, a lot of optimization was done to keep your eye out for graphical glitches, blocking group bugs and things like that. Here's a link. Probably should drop a link to this in the description. I'm probably going to forget about it, so you gotta let me if I do forget. If I don't, it's on the dock, and just go to Starmade, type in Google Starmade News, and this should come up fairly early in the search. Keep in mind we're also working on the weapon update too. And current offensive effects are not fully supported, as some will be changed or removed in only a few weeks after. Combination system will still stay. The combinations themselves can change drastically. Put a dev blog about weapons specifically after the next public release. So, although weapon effects we've been looking at, they may or may not change because it looks like weapons are going to get totally overhauled. Power system. Just keep in mind that all config values are not 100% final yet. Okay, let's see. There's a all-new power system in this build. Old ships are still loadable and usable, but the old power system related blocks are disabled in shops, creative mode, and factories. So it looks like they're going the way of the old docking. Remember old docking? You had the bounding boxes, and it was really messy, and I swore I would never dock anything to anything else, ever. Then Rails came out, and after Rails, these blocks still existed in the game, and you can still load them. You can even still find them out in the wild in old pirate ships, or pirate stations. But you can't build them, you can't buy them, you can't pick them up. So it looks like the old power is going to go that way. Although it'd be really nice to keep keep them as decorative. In fact, I would like the old docking blocks as a decorative block. That would be nice. But you can re-enable them in the block editor, or you can still access them through admin, give player block name, if you're an admin or in single player. There is an option in the server config to completely disable the old power system. However, once a universe is started with the old power disabled, this option cannot be reverted, as it would lead to incompatibilities with the structure and reactor HP systems, and stuff will just overheat anyway. So, once you go to new power, and new power only, you can't allow the old power in. But on default, you can allow the old power in, you just can't build the old power. Old powers allowed. It'll detect which version to use based on the structure's root entity, and check if it had any old power blocks. All structures will be counted new power until you place down an old power block, at which point they will convert to the old system. That was broken last time, but that was several builds ago, then yeah. This is mainly for game worlds to be fully functional and for players to get accustomed to the new system without rendering all their creations suddenly completely non-functional. So don't stick around with the old idea. Hold the old idea that you're going to get away with the old power system. You're going to have to learn the new, and it's not bad. In fact, I think it's easier. It's easier to comprehend for a newbie, as opposed to the cryptic puzzle game, mini game we had to play, placing lines, and yeah. So don't be scared, and don't whine about it, because if you don't want to play with the new power system, I guess you can always install an old build and keep going that way. How to use the new system. Make ships work differently. All ships made in the old power system will not translate well into the new system. So, here we go. Simply swapping out old power blocks with new ones does not make that ship functional again, because it's fundamentally different. Things cost different, things work different. We advise you to remove all power blocks, shields, definitely shields because they work totally different now, thrusters, and usables to start from a clean slate. Rip out everything. If you have a ship you want to refit, gut it entirely. All the systems, at least power blocks, shields, thrusters, at least those blocks, and start with an empty shell. Personally, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to start with a clean slate. Well, no, that's not entirely true. I will refit my ironclad because I just kind of like that ship, but I like it for the shell, not necessarily for its battle capabilities. Yeah, of course, my general philosophy for Starmade is never expect a ship to last more than 3 months. So, I'm surprised I've had the ironclad about a year now. And that's like way too old. Anyway, on the surface, the system is really simple. You have your main power reactor blocks and add recharge of the ship. You only have one reactor group at a time. Power capacity is fixed and low. As all weapons and systems use power over time. Weapons need a minimum amount of power to function and require a lot more when they're reloading. If you don't have enough recharge, you'll simply charge it slower. So if I don't have enough recharge to charge my super duper cannon, it isn't going to turn it off, it's just going to take it longer to get there. Thrusters and jump drives only use power when they're in use. Less than 10 blocks, actually it's 10 blocks and less, it should be less than or equal to 10 blocks. You don't need a stabilizer. Larger reactors have deteriorating stability. They will not gain power recharge unless you fix that by adding stabilizers. See, and we've learned all this stuff through experimentation. Power consumption. All modules now consume power over time. Additionally, you now have full control of what's going to be consumed first. We saw that in the menus. You have to choose what takes priority for power. Most systems have a linear power consumption increase that depends on the group size. Few systems that have no group sizes and scale with the mass of your ship. Okay. So I'm guessing like scanners, stealth, things like that are going to be based on mass. Docks. Docked reactors will switch off on docking. Docked reactors will switch off on docking. That's an awkward sentence. Anyway, docked reactors turn themselves off when they dock to something, and all power is drawn from the mothership. It means turrets cannot have any power reactors on their own when docked. We will change the behavior a bit more in the weapons update to increase performance in battle and to add more versatility to docks and turrets. So right now you cannot have a powered turret, and not a self-powered turret. It draws all energy from the mothership. But it looks like they're putting that off until the weapon update, then tweaking it there. Looks like we want to get a solid power update first. Structure HP goes to reactor HP. Ships now use reactor HP instead of the structure. I touched on that earlier. Chambers. Yeah, we've gone through chambers. Let's see, 100 different effects, over 100 different effects you can activate with chambers. And we've gone through the chambers, stealth and recon. Each ship now has a recon strength and stealth strength only if the respective scan stealth drives are active. The more recon you have over an enemy's stealth strength, the more information you get about that ship. This ranges from simply seeing a cloaked ship to being able to see the ship's reactor and weapons systems outlined. We saw that last week, I believe. For the weapon update, we plan to add more to it and tweak it where needed, respectively, to cloak or radar jam unit a higher stealth strength than the other ship's recon strength. Okay, so I can cloak, but if I going up against a ship with a stronger recon than I have stealth strength, my cloak's useless against that ship. Shields have been reworked into local shields. They now have a radius and only cover blocks within. This includes docks. Okay, I did not know that. So this includes docked entities. Only shields on the mothership will work to prevent abuse and maximize performance. The radius and recharge is based on the main recharger group, and so is its power consumption. The origin of the radius is the center of mass of that group and its capacity determined by all the shield capacity groups that are within the radius, up to 20 groups max. Okay. The local shield falls in another recharger group. Only the bigger recharger group will stay active, so the shields don't stack. Okay, that's good to know. Shield damage that falls into blocks covered by multiple local shields will do damage to all of them. Okay. So don't stack, but they will both get hurt. Huh. Okay. Adding an interesting mechanic, the system is mainly to avoid building ships in islands that are very far apart. Ah, okay. This was to offset the group that said, oh, this is cheating. I can build my 1,000 by 1,000 power reactor and 17 kilometers off build my stabilizers. Well, not anymore, because now I have to get shields around them. So I have to get shields around these, and it's going to be hard to shield the stabilizers. Okay, so I see why this was done now. Let's see. More expensive and power intensive to maintain the same shield HP for each of them. Then you need to get a single more concentrated shield group. Alright, integrity. Shapes, free building. Just reading this real quick. Measure to prevent exploiting certain system shapes without constructing or constricting free building too much. Not irrelevant to most builders. Is to prevent building ships that are too spaced out, mainly abusing line patterns. Most systems, well, of course, we all abused line patterns in the last one because we had to. Integrity value. Value starts fairly high and is modified on how the ship or the group is built. Any block does not touch enough other blocks of that group, it loses integrity. Okay, so if I have okay, so this is, I guess, to make PvPers happy, maybe? So if I have a group that doesn't touch anything else, I lose integrity, because I'm working the system. Yeah, that's an interesting way. It looks like it's... make sure normal builds do not get affected. The single lines are now impossible to build while maintaining a positive integrity rating. Anything dense enough is still okay. Thrusters count their integrity all in one. And a checkerboard pattern would be the fastest way to lose it. Shield integrity is based on the lowest integrity of the rechargers, groups within local shields, okay. If the integrity of a system is below 0, hitting that system will cause additional explosions across all groups of that same system. If a shielded ship with negative shield integrity is hit with a shield radius, the same will apply to the shield recharge groups. Okay, so all you whiners in the forums, they were listening. It looks like they built an integrity. So if you try to abuse the system, you're running a risk. You can do it, but it looks like you'll be punished for doing it. Repulsors, we looked at those. Manual aiming turrets. I tried that. Let's see. As set to manual aiming, they automatically try to align themselves with the pilot of the mothership is looking. This includes looking around using right shift. Oh, that's nice. Double tapping right shift to make it sticky. You also fire your turrets in this mode assignable from your weapons panel. Oh, that's great. We're going to have to play more with that. Factory storage update. Factories can limit production. Also stop pulling resources when that happens, only keeping enough in storage for one extra production staff. Okay. So, like I said before, we can limit production. And it looks like you can do that for storage blocks as well. Limit the amount of blocks to store per type. So I can have one that'll store a little bit of hull and a whole lot of shield blocks. Or no shield blocks and only crystals or something like that. Let's see. Work on refining the GUI and fixing exploits and problems as they come up. Let's see. Tutorial videos and block descriptions are still being worked on. And hopefully they'll be done by the actual release. Weapon update is next. And that looks... Well, Bob, rest in peace, Starmade. I don't think so. I think this is actually going to help us. Finally, glad to know that the Teams is alive. Well, if you've been playing the dev builds, and yeah, you'd know they've been alive. They've been producing one every day or two. Thanks for the work you guys are doing in the game. I agree with Guy Fake. Bob, this is not rest in peace, Starmade. This is the beginning of something beautiful. Alright, we didn't play much Starmade today. We're gonna have to do that tomorrow. Anywho, I've been JW608. This has been Starmade, and I'll dig you cats later.